Welcome, everyone, to what we are watching, episode 24. And that is our what episode?
This is the Kobe episode, baby.
That's
Black
what.
Mamba.
See, I was going to say that, and you're like, it's the Kiefer Sutherland TV show from the Fox Network.
Because Jack Bauer is undefeated.
In a 24-hour period. But anyway, I'm Joey Harris, along with my co-host, TJ. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, man, because I was going to wear, just to prove my point early, I was going to wear a Christmas hat, but I was like, nah, that's too on the nose, and it's too hot. I don't want to pass out in the middle of the show. But I'm feeling great, man. Glad to be here, ready to die hard in July.
Die hard in July, because they say, there is such a thing. Everybody knows that they do have Christmas in July. Hallmark's breaking out all of their Christmas movies. My mother, my wife, everybody's excited. Christmas in July, people are doing sales, special things and all of that. So I decided, hey, let's go and do all of the Die Hard movies, and we will discuss whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie. So that's why we're here. So today we are talking about Die Hard. So let me give you a little background on it. Die Hard is a 1988 American action film directed by John McTiernan and written by Jeb Stewart and Stephen E. D'Souza, based on the 1979 novel Nothing Lasts Forever by Roderick Thorpe. Die Hard follows New York City police detective John McClane, who is caught up in a terrorist takeover of a Los Angeles skyscraper while visiting his estranged wife.
Yes. I'm just a New York cop. Shouts out to Bob's Burgers for my musical, though, right? Like, that was awesome. I had to make sure I got that in there. But just starting off, bro. I mean, first off, I didn't realize again that it was based on the book until I did the rewatch yesterday to prepare for the day. Right. I was like, based on the novel, I was like, oh snap, somebody wrote this. And I'm just like, man, literature is awesome. Literature. I mean, I'm just saying, but it sets the stage because he's wearing his ring. You see the picture. She puts the picture down. We're starting some stuff.
We are starting some stuff. Stewart was hired by 20th Century Fox to adapt Thorpe's novel in 1987. His first draft was greenlit immediately, as the studio was eager for a summer blockbuster the following year. The role of McClane was turned down by a host of the decade's most popular actors, including Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. Known mainly for work on television, Willis was paid $5 million for his involvement, placing him among Hollywood's highest paid actors. The deal was seen as a poor investment by industry professionals and attracted significant controversy towards the films prior to its release. Filming took place between November 87 and March 88 on a $25 million to $35 million budget and almost entirely on location in and around Fox Plaza in Los Angeles, which, if anyone is a Brooklyn Nine-Nine fan, would know that.
Yeah.
Expectations for Die Hard were low. Some marketing materials omitted Willis's image, ostensibly because the publicity team determined that the setting was as important as McClane. Upon its release in July 1988, initial reviews were mixed. Criticism focused on its violence, plot, and Willis's performance, while McTiernan's direction and Rickman's charismatic portrayal of the villain Hans Gruber were praised. Defying predictions, Die Hard grossed approximately $140 million, becoming the year's 10th highest grossing film and the highest grossing action film. Receiving 4 Academy Award nominations, it elevated Willis to leading man status and made Rickman a celebrity.
He was a beast. I know we're going to talk more about it. But that man is talented.
Yes.
He's good. That man is good.
But not good and terrible. I'm going to finish it.
No. I'm not going to say the whole thing. I'm not going to say it. No, not good and terrible.
Die Hard has been critically reevaluated and is now considered one of the greatest action films of all time. It is considered to have revitalized the action genre, largely due to its depiction of McClane as a vulnerable and fallible protagonist, in contrast to the muscle-bound and invincible heroes of other films of the period. Retrospective commentators also identified and analyzed its thematic concerns, including vengeance, masculinity, gender roles, and American anxieties over foreign influences. And folks, I will tell you this, I pull from a variety of sources, but if you want to examine Die Hard from any of these and more perspectives, just go on their Wikipedia page for Die Hard. It is about 55 pages worth of evaluating everything from McClane as the Jesus figure to Holly as a feminist icon to Argyle's portrayal as the limo driver and giving him something to do late in the film. Everything is there.
I mean, that's how you know you made a cult classic.
Right.
Right.
Yes. The film produced a host of imitators. The term Die Hard became shorthand for plots featuring overwhelming odds in a restricted environment, such as Die Hard on a Bus. It created a franchise comprising of the sequels Die Hard 2, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Live Free or Die Hard, and A Good Day to Die Hard, plus video games, comics, and other merchandise. Deemed culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant by the United States Library of Congress, Die Hard was selected for preservation in the National Film Registry in 2017. Due to its Christmas Eve setting, Die Hard is often named one of the best Christmas films, although its status as a Christmas film is disputed. So let's get into this little film. Yes. A little artistic piece that was released in 1988.
Art film. I like art films.
You should go around and tell people, you're like, I saw a little art film the other day. You know, people like, even if they don't like art films, they have to pretend like they like art films.
Right.
And then with a straight face, say, yeah, I don't know if you've seen it. It's called Die Hard.
Right.
And when they start laughing or going, are you serious? Go, what? It's no. You're thinking of something else. This is Die Hard. It's got Bruce Willis from Moonlighting in it.
Yeah. I saw Carl Winslow. Carl Winslow was in it. It's Die Hard.
Right.
Die Hard.
Yes. They got Carl. Carl's the big actor in it.
Yeah, Carl was like, I was waiting for Steve. I'm like, how did you guys get Carl in this supporting role? Oh my God. Right. Carl's the guy.
Although if you've seen some of those Reginald VelJohnson interviews, if Steve had shown up, he'd have probably shot him. That's the kid he shot. That's the kid he shot.
Oh God! Carl Winslow and Professor Snape. Love it.
On Christmas Eve, New York City Police Department Detective John McClane arrives in Los Angeles, hoping to reconcile with his estranged wife Holly at a party held by her employer, the Nakatomi Corporation. Now, it doesn't mention it here, but I've got to talk it, or it might later on, but I've got to mention it here when he gets the idea. Homeboy next to him that talks about making the fists in the carpet with your toes. He's looking at him like, what?
Right.
He's like, it's better than coffee.
I guess I have to say I like people like that, right? Like, you know what? Just if you're going to interject something, let it be something good. But the hilarious thing was how nervous he got when he saw that gun. Like, he shut down.
He's like, the fist.
He was making fists with his feet in his shoes when he saw that gun.
Much like you do when you're wearing your Crocs and they're not in action mode. They're just in relax mode. You're like, I can make fists with my feet and keep them on.
I can make fists with my feet in this. Yeah. You know about the Croc life.
He is driven to Nakatomi Plaza by a limo driver, Argyle, who offers to wait for McClane in the garage. My man Argyle, Christmas in Hollis.
He's a genius. He's a genius.
He's like, we got CB, CD, VHS. He's got it all.
I'm saying the kid is smart because the kid was like, all right, I did my job. I could take the limo back. Or I can hang out while my guy is partying and I'm still getting paid. I'm on the clock. So yeah, he's a genius.
He's like The boss thinks I'm on the way to Vegas. Isn't that what he says? Something like that.
Yep. So that's what I'm saying. Like he got it. Like Argyle is that guy. And then introducing again. First, you said it was Christmas Eve. That's point one. I'm just gonna hold up fingers. Then he plays the most awesome, one of the most memorable Christmas songs ever. Two. Just saying. Just saying. Take a sip of my drink. I'm thirsty.
While McClane washes himself, the tower is seized by the German radical Hans Gruber and his heavily armed team, including Carl and Theo. Shout out to my man Theo, Clarence Gilliard, rest in peace. Throw two up for him. It was known at the time, actually not yet. He had not started yet. I was about to say known at the time. He was about to start the next year, I believe, on Matlock. And then he went from there. He was Matlock's second investigator, Conrad McMasters. And then he went from there to co-starring on Walker, Texas Ranger.
Oh, that is right. I got the codes. My other guy that we get introduced to very early on, and I should have looked his name up. I did, but I can't remember it. Ghostbusters 2. You remember Ghostbusters 2? The painting that was possessed?
Yes.
That actor is one of the goons as well.
Okay. Vigo? Was that Vigo?
Vigo was the character's name in Ghostbusters 2. Yeah. He was one of the bad guys as well. So I knew that they had some power on their side when I saw him.
Everyone in the tower is taken hostage except for McClane, who slips away, and Argyle, who remains oblivious to events. Argyle's talking to his girl, man. He's like, "That's all right.
Caking.
Listen,
he was caking hard.
You need to. He needs it. He's got the number."
and McClane simply is like, "I know Argyle's calling the cops right now." No, he's not.
Gruber is posing as a terrorist who steals the $640 million in untraceable bearer bonds in the building's vault. He kills executive Joseph Takagi after failing to extract the access code from him and tasks Theo with breaking into the vault. The terrorists are alerted to McClane's presence, and one of them, Tony, is sent after him. McClane kills Tony and takes his weapon and radio, which he uses to contact the skeptical Los Angeles Police Department. "Sir, this is an emergency line only. What do you think? I'm ordering a pizza? I'm trying to clean it up some."
That was a funny shit. I like the dialogue, man. It's funny.
Sergeant Al Powell is sent to investigate. He comes in. He circles around almost like, "I don't see anything," and then he stops. He goes out. He goes inside. He talks. He's like, "You mind if I take a look around?" "Help yourself." That guy looks like Huey Lewis. I don't know. That's what I've always thought. The guy
did.
Yes. And then Al Powell is like literally 3 steps from getting shot if he had gone any farther, because that guy's there with that gun.
He was ready to put him down.
Meanwhile, McClane kills more terrorists and recovers their bag of C4 and detonators. Realizing Powell's about to leave, having found nothing amiss, McClane drops a terrorist's corpse onto his car. And he goes from nothing's wrong to just like full scale, like you need to send everybody
into the world. Bro. So shouts out to Carl Winslow, and I'm going to call him Carl Winslow for the entire show. Let's just go ahead and get rid of that right now. I know his name is Reginald Bell Johnson because I think that's the coolest name, but he's Carl Winslow to me. So Oscar nomination goes to Carl Winslow for supporting actor, because you're talking about somebody going from cool to sugar smacks in 0.1 seconds. And that was so realistic. Like, he didn't care about the car. He drove off the curve. I just got to get away from here. And that was that. Look, yeah, that was genuine. I love that.
After Powell calls for backup, a SWAT team attempts to storm the building, but is counterattacked by the terrorists. McClane throws some C4s down an elevator shaft, causing an explosion that kills some of the terrorists and ends the counterattack. Holly's co-worker Harry Ellis attempts to negotiate on Gruber's behalf, but is killed by Gruber when McClane refuses to surrender. Hans Booby. I'm your white knight.
Right. Hey, you got to come down here, capiche? Like, I mean, how you tough talking? What are you doing, Ellis?
Ellis, these I don't know you, Ellis.
Like he really thought he was in control because they poured him a Coke. Because they poured him a Coca-Cola, he was big digging it. Like, come on, man, get out.
There in every office situation I have ever been in or just gone through, there's an Ellis in every group. Something goes down and Ellis looks around and he's like, "Oh, I guess it's up to me." And everybody else is like, "Dear God, please, anybody but him."
There's always an Ellis. Everyone watching right now knows.
Don't worry, everybody. I got it. And they're all saying, "Well, I guess Ellis's office is now."
All right.
People
ask
now.
What was Ellis doing again?
Ellis is not dead yet. He's walking that way, but they're like, Ellis ain't coming back.
Everybody knew that Ellis wasn't coming back whenever he got up. They knew he was a douchebag. There's no way that they were going to let Ellis get away from that.
And there's also another guy. Let's call him Harold. Ellis just like took 2 steps. He's like, dibs on Ellis's parking space. Damn it, Harold. It's not the time. Time and place, Harold.
Sitting there. And John, who's behind Harold, is sitting there like, what was his title again? Because, I mean, you have to know before you want to throw your name in the hat for that title, man.
John's like,
opportunist.
I gotta talk to somebody. Then Margaret's gonna look over and is like, damn it, Harold, damn it, John. They also killed our boss. Who are you gonna talk to? Everybody's here. It's the Christmas party.
Ladies and gentlemen, you just tuned into a mini teaser for Nakatomi Sagas. Because here we are creating all these characters. I mean, really, Nakatomi Sagas. I like that name.
And me, I don't know that. I mean, I don't think it would really be like this, but in my head, Marv, the guy from the second movie, his first job was here. And he quit next day. I ain't cleaning this up. I am not cleaning this up. We'll get there, Marv. Your day is coming, my friend.
Big facts.
Holly's co-worker, Harry Ellis. All right. So we got that. While checking the explosives on the roof, Gruber encounters McClane and pretends to be an escaped hostage. This guy,
oh God. Oh my God, you're one of them.
Because one day he was doing that accent on set, so they wrote that scene.
Bro, like, again, so if genius to the villain who's smart enough to understand that he's had a conversation with this guy directly, and if he uses his actual voice, he's going to get shot in the face. Like, he knew that. So the fact that he had that immediate thought to think, so at some point in time, we need to have a villain's ranking, sir, because Hines would go high on my list. Not gonna lie, he's quick on his feet, even though he's now flat. Okay, and now talking about the actor. Dude, I mean, I've watched this guy for a long time. I know his voice. It's very distinct, in Dogma. And again, we're talking about Professor Snape. That's that guy. So, bro, for him to do the accent like he did on, man, look, love that whole scene, man. Because he kept it. Because I even watched this time watching it through, I was like, let me watch to make sure that he still keeps the mannerisms when they have that little bit of dialogue afterwards. And he kept it.
McClane gives Gruber a gun. Gruber attempts to shoot McClane, but finds the weapon is unloaded, and he is saved only by the intervention of other terrorists. McClane escapes, but is injured by shattered glass and loses the detonators. Outside, Federal Bureau of Investigation agents take control. They ordered the power to be shut off, which, as Gruber had anticipated, disables the final lock so his team can collect the bonds. And they're all like, turn the power off. And everybody's like, that is a bad idea. How do I know? Because it's Christmas Eve, and it ain't just going to turn off the power to the building. It's like five city blocks or something like that?
5 city blocks is going to get turned off. And now, mind you, the guy was like, at the very beginning, when they first started talking, the actual employee was like, I can do that. And they keep going amongst themselves. He's like, all I got to do is call. They cut him off, and they're still going. But again, this is just one opportunity for me to introduce a little bit of Bob's Burgers into the conversation. We got the FBI. And the way that they introduced the FBI on Bob's Burgers is absolutely hilarious because it was a musical. I'm Johnson. He's Johnson. We're from the FBI. Like, really, no relation. I thought
that's what I was going to ask. I thought that the second Johnson was some relation of yours, or was like named in homage to you. Because you were I think 4 when they were writing the
like, just like one Johnson said, I was in middle school. I'm sitting there saying, man, I was still pushing the pull-ups.
I bet you were rocking them too.
I think I was rocking them hard. I was that kid that just walked out in the streets in a pull-up.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Till I was 8 and a half.
The FBI agrees to Gruber's demand for a helicopter, intending to send helicopter gunships to eliminate the group. McClane realizes Gruber plans to blow the roof to kill the hostages and fake his team's deaths. Carl, enraged by the death of his brother Tony, attacks McClane and is seemingly killed. Gruber sees a news report by Richard Thornburg on McClane's children and deduces that he is Holly's husband. Now, let's talk about Richard Thornburg for a second.
Yes.
William Atherton is the actor. He is around. They're like, listen, we need somebody who has a little bit of authority in whatever he does to be a dick. Get me Dick Atherton. You mean Bill Atherton? I called him Dick.
I call him Dick. Ghostbusters 1 had come out at this point already, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes,
so that's what I'm saying. Like, that's just who he is. You know, it's not. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's done other things that he was amazing in, but he plays that role very well.
He played it again this year. They brought him back for the latest Ghostbusters.
Oh, awesome! I haven't seen it yet. You're talking about the Ghostbusters 3 Cool Breezes?
Yes, that's it.
That's the name of it, right?
It's actually Ghostbusters 3.5 Cool Breezes.
Oh, got you. So they're taking the Lion King approach.
Yes.
Got you. Okay.
Next one will be Ghostbusters 4.5 Tight Squeezes.
Tight Squeezes, because the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is coming back, but he's on Ozempic.
Yes. And according to the old children's rhyme, there will be a spider crawling up his back.
Boom.
The hostages are taken to the roof while Gruber keeps Holly with him. McClane drives the hostages from the roof just before Gruber detonates it and destroys the approaching FBI helicopters. Meanwhile, Thea retrieves an escape vehicle from the parking garage, but is knocked out by Argyle, who had been following events on the limo's CB radio. And they say that he really hit him. And they're like, no, he almost dislocated my jaw.
Oh, snap.
Because it was like one of the later scenes filmed, and they're like, we got to get it, go to it. And he went to it. So
he punched the crap out of my guy.
Yeah.
Wow, that's tough.
A weary and battered McClane finds Holly with Gruber and his remaining henchmen. McClane surrenders to Gruber and is about to be shot, but grabs his concealed service pistol taped to his back and uses his last 2 bullets to wound Gruber and kill his accomplice. Gruber crashes through a window, but grabs onto Holly's wristwatch and makes a last-ditch attempt to kill the pair. McClane unclasps the watch, and Gruber falls to his death. Now, he really did fall. There's different sources as to how far he fell, but to get the shock look, they told him that he was going on they told him that he was going on 3, and they like went on 1 or 2.
Oh snap!
Yeah. And so that's why his shocked look is there. He's
as
like
authentic as it did. Like, yeah, like he looked like that. I didn't know that was a real fall. I'm wondering how far it was legit.
Somebody said either like the ranges are from 20 feet to 70 feet. 20 feet would be enough for me.
I'd piss.
I bet if they only see part of him when he starts to fall, and they switch to the thing, because I bet he said, "You told me we were going on 3."
See, now that you tell me that, what you're saying makes sense. I just because I like the way he says. I say Carl Winslow, but the way they say Carl is Carl. Like I'm trying to. I'm like Carl. Like I feel like that's what he was saying, and it just sounds really awesome in my head.
Outside, Carl ambushes McClane and Holly, but is shot dead by Powell. Holly punches Thornburg when he attempts to interview McClane. Argyle crashes through the parking garage door in the limo and drives McClane and Holly away together.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
The development of Die Hard began in 1987 when screenwriter Jeb Stewart was in dire financial strait. His script, purchased by Columbia Pictures, had been abandoned, and a contract at Walt Disney Pictures was not providing him with sufficient income. Stewart had 6 weeks between contracted work, so his agent Jeremy Zimmer contacted Lloyd Levin, the head of development at the Gordon Company, a producing arm at 20th Century Fox. Levin asked Stewart to work on an adaptation of the 1979 novel Nothing Lasts Forever, written by former private investigator Roderick Thorpe. Thorpe had been inspired to write Nothing Lasts Forever by a dream he had, in which armed assailants chase a man through a building after watching the 1974 disaster film The Towering Inferno. Fox had adapted the book's 1966 predecessor, The Detective, for the 1968 film starring Frank Sinatra as NYPD Detective Joe Leland, and purchased the sequel rights before Nothing Lasts Forever had been written. Lewin gave Stewart creative freedom as long as he retained the Christmas in Los Angeles setting. The concept he considered would provide an interesting aesthetic. The film was pitched as Rambo in an office building. Referring to the successful Rambo film series, producers Lawrence Gordon and Joel Silver hired director John McTiernan because of his work with them on the successful 1987 action film Predator. McTiernan agreed to direct on the condition that the film would have some joy and not simply contain mean, nasty acts seen in other terrorist films. Stewart began working 18-hour days at his office at Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, which left him exhausted and on edge. After an argument with his wife, he went for a drive and saw a box in his lane. Unable to avoid it, he was forced to drive over it and discovered it to be empty. According to Stewart, he pulled over on the side of the freeway, his heart pounding. From this, Stewart conceived a central theme of the story of a man who should have apologized to his wife before a catastrophe. He returned home to reconcile with his wife and wrote 35 pages that night. To shape the McClanes' relationship, Stewart also drew upon the marital problems of his peers, including divorces and ex-wives reverting to use their maiden name. As Die Hard was based on the novel's sequel to the detective film, the studio was contractually obligated to offer Frank Sinatra the role. Sinatra, who was 70 at the time, declined. The role was offered to various major stars, including Sylvester Stallone, Richard Gere, Clint Eastwood, Harrison Ford, Burt Reynolds, Nick Nolte, Mel Gibson, Don Johnson, Richard Dean Anderson, Paul Newman, James Caan, and Al Pacino. The prevailing action archetype of the era was a muscle-bound, invincible macho man like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was offered the role, but he wanted to branch out into comedy and turned it down to star in Twins. Willis was known mainly for his comedic role in the romantic comedy television series Moonlighting, starring opposite Sybil Shepherd. He declined the role because of his contractual obligations to Moonlighting, but when Shepherd became pregnant, The show's production was stopped for 11 weeks, giving Willis enough time to take the role.
Oh.
So were you aware that they were contractually obligated to give the role to Frank Sinatra?
I was not. Like, so now I'm like, since Frank declined McClane, I mean, couldn't he have been in there somewhere else? I'm like, I would have loved a Frank sighting.
If you can, and it's been a while since I just saw scenes. I need to go back and hunt it down. If you can, see if you can seek out The Detective. It's a 1968 movie starring Frank Sinatra. And this is the archetype for John McClane, because originally he is just a private detective. He is not a police officer. And Nothing Lasts Forever, it is his daughter who is at the party, and he goes and it's taken over and all of that. But I think his daughter also, I've not read the novel, I'm just going by what I've heard. I believe his daughter has elements of Ellis to her, so she's got a little bit of a drug problem.
Oh no.
There. But nothing lasts forever, like the novel says. So let's talk about casting. It's hard, like at the time. I know if we look at it through modern eyes, or even a little bit later than this eyes, a lot of those choices, you're like, I couldn't see them in that role, but those were the top actors of the day. I can't blame Fox for going after them, because they wanted a marketable star. It's show business. It's not show friends. We've talked about this before. But I think that the stars aligned perfectly. Sybil Shepherd's pregnancy, because Bruce Willis was just Moonlighting was my show. That was my jam back in the day. And folks, if you Hulu, it's streaming on Hulu, and it's just as good as you remember it.
Big time facts. I enjoyed that show, bro.
But that gives it away, and like we said, he gets $5 million, which shoots him to the top. Little known fact, just in case I don't bring it up for next one, was given $7.5 million for the sequel.
Make that money, man.
I thought he was going to double it, though.
Yeah, I mean, considering how successful the first one was, heck
yeah. Right. But they could say, listen, this is what we've got. It's more than the first one. This is what we can afford. And at the time, Moonlighting has now gone off the air.
Right.
And he's like, I can build on this successful franchise that launches me into doing other stuff. I totally get it. But I think perfect casting. Bonnie Bedelia was actually Bruce Willis's choice. He had seen her in something else and enjoyed that and thought they would have good chemistry, which they do. She's perfect in her role.
Big facts. Holly Gennaro McClane, that was the perfect. It's like I don't know. I mean, we all have some, judging it. She looks like they look like they could legitimately be a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Like legit, look like they could be a couple. And the chemistry that they had, I felt like there was animosity there. Like before, when she's talking to the maid on the phone, you can get that sense of longing or whatever that she's got there. Like it was a good casting for her, definitely.
You can tell that she loves him. And she loves her children, of course. She's a mother. She loves him. She loves her children. But she also has no, this is my job. I was living in New York. I got this opportunity. I'm making the most of it. Yet she still does love him, because she tells the nanny, the housekeeper, whatever she is, to make up the spare bedroom. And she does send Argyle to pick him up.
Yep. Did she do it, or did the boss? I thought the boss was behind that one, because Bruce, whenever he comes to the party, is like, so I have you to thank for the car.
Maybe.
And he was like, well, we had to pick you up in class, talking about how much he cared about Holly. So I thought it was But
at the same time, you can tell that she does care for him, because he does know, hey, this is her husband and they're strange. But maybe we can make something work out. So I'm going to do my part, because she does, she hides the picture, which we can understand, because she doesn't want them to know. Maybe she's just thinking, hey, let him at least hide out up there, and I'm not going to say, hey, my husband's on the 14th floor. Which is what my wife would do. Not that she hates me. She just wants to make sure that everybody's accounted for.
Got you.
Don't go into my bathroom. My husband's in there making fists.
With his feet, he's making fists with his feet.
Al Powell, Reginald VelJohnson, Carl Winslow, if you will.
Carl Winslow. Carl. I like the way they say Carl, man. It's dope. Carl.
My dad, his name is Carroll, Carroll. And 2 different times, this has been about 10 years ago now, but we had 2 kids when I moved back in with my parents for a couple of years in between marriages while I was getting my life together. I had 2 different sets of little kids that lived down the street.
Uh-huh.
And he would be in his yard working on something. And they'd come by and he'd introduce himself and show them what he was working on. That's just the type of guy he is. Both sets of kids always called him Carl. So that's what we call him now.
Carl.
Good old Carl.
Good old Carl. But so, yeah, Carl Winslow as Al. Like I always had the running joke that, you know, Family Matters was a spinoff of Die Hard, and that, you know, they put him in witness protection. He just wanted to continue being a cop. I'm like, I thought when you went to witness protection, they switched professions.
Yeah, no, you don't.
I'm not only are you going to make my name Carl Winslow, but I'm still going to be a cop. So, but no, he was. It was obviously the perfect casting, which is why he became a cop again and is famously known for being a cop. You know,
right.
Like that was the perfect, because I felt his pain when he talked about shooting the kid and the mistake that he made.
Right.
I felt, and when he ended up killing, and I just love another opportunity to say it, when he ended up killing Carl at the end, you know, like you could see him tearing up. You know, like all he was doing was saving everybody in that space, which no one could accuse him of being a bad guy for sitting there. This guy's got an automatic weapon and he's about to let loose, you know, but even in that moment, his eyes were watering up. And I'm like, bro, Carl Winslow's got some chops.
And makes the most of every bit of his screen time. From where he's buying the Twinkies for the pregnant wife, and the guy's like, sure, yeah, sure. And then he goes out and he's about to get in there, and he hears the thing on the radio, and he's like, it's just down the street. I'll go do it. He's coming in, he's talking to the guy. Do you mind if I take a look around? And then coming back. And we talked about it. His performance when that body lands on his car.
Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! Oh God!
Send everybody.
Send everybody.
To talking about, he's like, why are you like that? And he's like, I shot a kid. But then like they're talking about the cowboy, Mr. Cowboy, and he's like, you can just call me Roy Rogers. And he's like, I got you back, Roy.
I got you. But even then, so you're talking about that, the conversation that he was having, that real heart-to-heart moment, that he was having, you know, with Carl Winslow when he's talking about the mistakes that I made and, you know, tell my wife that I'm sorry. You know, that's that conversation, that's that realization you're having with yourself when you know that your end might be coming. But again, Carl, being the guy that he is, like him being on the other end of that conversation, he switched roles so quickly into a therapist mode. I don't look at Carl as a cop. I guess ultimately he is what I want cops to be, because he was versatile and he was quick on his feet and he's able to adjust, understand that he didn't need to be rough and tough in that moment. You know, he needed to be, you know, vulnerable with this guy who was really having a moment. I mean, he had been blowing people up. His body count is high.
Now, this is what I want you to do. I want you to take your mental wall, all right? Take a mental pen, put a little piece of mental thread around it, and just put it right there for the I'm sorry conversation. Just remember it, because we're going to come back to it, okay?
Okay.
All right. So we've talked about the guy that played Ellis. I mean, that is just that quintessential. Like he's not really a bad guy. He's a a little sleazy because he's like, homeboy is just like, excuse me, I got to take a toot of cocaine.
Right.
The only way it would have been better, I don't know if you've ever seen New Girl. Have you ever seen New Girl? Have you ever watched that show?
Yeah.
Where he pronounces it, yeah, where he pronounces it like Schmidt the cocaine.
The cocaine. Look, you asked me if I watch New Girl. I love the word moist. I have the girls be like, I hate that word. I'm like, I'll make a cake so moist. Yeah, that's that. I know New Girl, man. Good stuff.
So, quick aside, I was recording an episode of the very popular Joey Harris Show podcast with our good friend Nathan, and I talked about Wordle. I had just started playing Wordle. This has been a couple of years ago now. I'm like, Nan, do you play Wordle? And she's like, no, I know about it. And I'm like, today's word, everybody either got it right away or didn't get it. There was no, and they loved it or they hated it because the word was moist that day. And everybody,
I love
this is when everybody was like, Wordle just came out and everybody was playing it and posting their results and stuff like that. And they're like, I hate today's word.
I don't understand why people have such a hard time with that word, man. It's an awesome word.
So we talked about William Atherton as Dick Thornburg. You got the two Johnsons, Johnson and Johnson.
I'm Johnson. He's Johnson. Yeah, we're in the FBI.
And I am blanking. Maybe you remember, like Al Powell's kind of like supervisor. That dude,
yes.
He's another guy. He has passed on, but he's the guy that's like, we need somebody who's a person in authority who's not going to take any shit from anybody. If you've seen Breakfast Club, he was like the vice principal. He's like, you mess with the bull, you get the horns.
You get the horns. He was also playing the exact same role in Not Another Teen Movie. So he is just that guy who, again, won't take no shit, but for some strange reason, people always want
to give it to him. They give it to him. He don't want to take it. Like,
he gets it.
I just remember Breakfast Club. Like, no, sir. That was he was Brian is like correcting him on the number of
yeah. So great casting on that one, man. He's just that guy.
All right. And no talk about casting on Die Hard would be complete if we did not give a little love to Mr. Hans Gruber himself. Alan Rickman, 40 years old. His film debut is Die Hard at 40.
Wow. Did not know that. Bro, I would not have thought that was that man's debut movie, bro.
Let me just double check that because that is what I read. But sometimes, people, you can write anything.
You can write anything. I am 31 and a half.
You got to do that half.
Got to put the half on there.
So when I bring it up, rest in peace, by the way.
Man. Beast actor.
8 years ago. 46. So yeah, he was 40 plus, then died at age 69. Let me go to filmography. See all. Actor.
#Dogma.
Archive. Went too far. I scrolled too far. This is actor. TV. A lot of TV stuff. Die Hard, his first movie.
#.
Then he goes on to January Man and Quigley Down Under, Truly Madly Deeply, Closet Land, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. He was the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Beast. Sheriff of Naughty.
Michael Collins, The Winter Guest, Dogma, Galaxy Quest.
Yes. He was great in Galaxy Quest. Galaxy Quest is a movie that I can just watch.
Galaxy Quest, and then Professor Snape. Played King Philip on the episode of King of the Hill when they go to the Renaissance Fair.
That is right. Get me some mead. Perhaps I will go with Fatherton Fuels.
But a fantastic role. I mean, Homeboy, he sicked his teeth into it, and he could have played it over the top. I felt like he was right on that line, but he's like, I'm gonna lean on that line, but I'm not gonna cross that line.
This movie isn't revered the same without him as Hans. And look, there's a lot of other amazing actors that would have done different portrayals, but his Hans, that was Hans.
Yes.
Because I mean, the thing about you're talking about, like let's another character who I just loved, bad guy, who I just loved when he came on screen. Heath Ledger's Joker, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was over the top with it, but you know, anytime he was on camera, you were glued to it. Hans, Alan Rickman did that with Hans, but he didn't go over the top with it. His calmness was his crazy. To see in the situation that he's in, and then also put, because I look at it like this because I like crime movies, the thought that had to go into planning this job, and then to run it and have all these contingencies ready, to know what the FBI's plan is going to be and how they're going to react. Like all that takes work. So again, you can't put all that planning in and then be a loose cannon. You know, so like I said, the thought that he put into that character, so dope. So dope.
I just realized something. I have been working on something for a while now, and it's still just a germ of an idea out of there, but it's a guy who kind of like solves mysteries and stuff like that, and he eventually comes up against someone who's like his arch nemesis, and this person is always impeccably dressed, always has meticulous planning, and even when it like blows up and it doesn't go off, he never loses his cool. Because a lot of people, like, you see archetypes like that, and then after a while they start screaming, and you know they
Right.
go, this guy never does it. He's like, oh well, I guess I'll have to do something else. And he, like, a building could blow up and he walks out and his suit is still perfect, it doesn't have a speck of dust on it, and I realize it's Hans Gruber. That's where I got the inspiration. It just hit me.
It's so, as you were describing that, I was just sitting there saying, I can't wait to introduce you to a character named Gus Fring from Breaking Bad. Because you were describing Guillermo Esposito to a T, because that's how he played it. Big bad, but he's always clean, keeps himself composed, but he is a freaking villain.
And what we were talking about before we started recording, that would be my choice for Tywin Lannister.
Ooh. Ooh, keep your shirt on.
I can't do it. It's getting too hot.
It's getting too hot.
But now we get to the main reason that we are here.
Yes.
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? I'm going to throw some things out there, and then I'm going to give you the floor, my friend. I'm just going to go.
Bet. And I want you to do exactly like that too.
So, several years ago, I was listening to a podcast. It was a wrestling podcast. It's called The Lapsed Fan. But somehow they got on the topic of Die Hard and whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie. And so they outlined what makes a Christmas movie. And they said 4 things. And if a movie had 2 of the 4, it was a Christmas movie. All right.
Okay.
Die Hard has all 4. Okay. Their first thing is it has to take place at Christmas. There's not a Christmas movie that doesn't take place at Christmas. All right.
Okay.
It has to have holiday decorations or lights.
Okay.
It has to have holiday Christmas music.
Okay.
And then it has to have someone dressed up festively or like Santa.
Oh man.
Die Hard has all four. It has somebody dressed
Yeah.
up festively. It has the music. It takes place at Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's got like the decorations.
The decorations.
Yes. All right. And so they're like, boom, it's a Christmas movie. All right. Detractors will say, oh, it can't be a Christmas movie. It just is an action movie that takes place at Christmas. It is an action movie and it does take place at Christmas. Then they'll say, this is their big one that they hang their hats on. Can't be a Christmas movie because it wasn't released at Christmas. All right. If you want to go down that road, okay, I'll meet you there and I'll say, It's a Wonderful Life debuted in January. Miracle on 34th Street released in the summertime. All right. Then you have to say Hocus Pocus is not a Halloween movie because it was not released in October or September, as a matter of fact. Boom. All right. Now, the only thing that if somebody made this point, I will give it to them, although I don't agree. All right. I listened to another podcast. It's called Can't Wait for Christmas. And I'm listening to the backlog, and they took a whole year to put out there for people to vote and discuss, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? And one guy says it is not, because for something to be a Christmas movie, there has to have what he's called the Linus moment, which is from Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown, which is, I can tell you what Christmas is about, Charlie Brown. Lights, please. And then he goes into the story of Jesus. He says, Elf, there's that scene. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I know what it means to me and all of that. He says there's not one in Die Hard. Now, I looked at Die Hard. It took me 2 days and finished it yesterday. And I don't think he's right. For me, going back to what I told you to stick a pin in is the I'm sorry thing. Even though he doesn't say that's what Christmas means to me. He talks about anybody can say I love you, but the I'm sorry speech that he tells Al to give her if he doesn't make it. To me, that's his Linus moment in Die Hard. Yep. And now, sir, let me get my I'm giving you the floor. Oh, he's dancing. Right. He's dancing.
Right. I had to shake it out. They tell you to stretch your shoulders. All right, so I've had this conversation before, and I will refer to Hilarity by Default. That channel is still up and active. If you want to see what I said when I was younger, go look there. The argument ain't changed. It's just a little bit more sophisticated. Ladies and gentlemen, when you're talking about a Christmas movie, Joey gave you the 4 things that they said. Mine are just a little bit more detailed. Yes, it has to have Christmas music. It has to be set at or around Christmas time, but there has to be a quest. If you look at all of your Christmas movies, It's a Wonderful Life, there's a quest. Scrooge, there's a quest. Home Alone, the quest is to get back to family. In Die Hard, Bruce Willis is coming to his family. And then whenever all the action happens, he's trying to save his wife to get them to the family for what? For Christmas. So it's like the only detractor that you have is that it's an action movie. You don't want to associate the violence with Christmas time because people have a apprehension to thinking about violence at Christmas. I get that you don't want to connect the two, but it's totally a Christmas movie just based on the 3 things that I gave you. It's got the Christmas music. It's set during Christmas, and then there's the quest. There's the quest to get back. Like, so you don't like Die Hard because it's got action, but you love Home Alone with the child neglect? What are we talking about here, people? I mean, come on now. Die Hard is definitely a Christmas movie. And again, it's because all this man's trying to do is get home for Christmas. How many movies have we seen where the whole point is getting home for Christmas? That's all he's trying to do.
Another point that people like to make is that Christmas is not necessary to the plot. That could be happening anytime. They could be having any kind of a party.
It's like, the whole plot.
I'm like, listen.
He was invited to the Christmas party.
I'm like, listen. How many parties does your company throw a year? Ain't coming out for Memorial Day. Welcome to our Memorial Day bash, dude. I just want to go home. But it's like
they shut the office down.
He's like, we had a fantastic year. Enjoy the Christmas festivities.
I'm saying it's the whole point of he says at the beginning of the movie, I was invited to a Christmas party. I mean, come on. Like, that's the whole point of the film. Why are you flying? I was invited to a Christmas party. So how can you say that the whole concept of Christmas isn't relevant? That's why he was there. You know, come on. Come on. I get heated when I talk about this one, my guy, and I'm trying to keep my BP down because I got my fans turned on low right now because I don't want all the noise in the background. But come on.
And again, we've discussed this. By fans, he means there are a couple of guys in the corner going, "You the man, DJ, you the man." But he told them to keep it. But he told them to keep it down. Keep it down.
You the man.
They're doing like the banners and the 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? DJ Johnson and Johnson.
Alderman H. Don Mulligan.
All right. There we go. There we go. We need to get our names up there. I'm gonna figure out how to do that.
I like when you had your box was all big, and I had the small cousin box. Yeah, man.
When you're talking, cousin box.
Yeah, when you're talking, you should be front and center. They need to see that mug. I don't need to be front and center, so put me in the little cousin box. But then when we're both talking, having dialogue, then it's going to be an even box. But then whenever I'm getting some meaty action, then you're going to put me in the front and center, and you're going to be the little cousin box.
All right, let me see if I can.
I don't think it's possible for you to make me the big one, but I like this one because you're the star.
No, that is not true. I'm
the fixins.
Then you're the star because everybody knows the fixins are the star.
No, everybody knows that you can't have a meal without the fixins. But that you didn't go to Bojangles just for the mashed potatoes and gravy. You went for them Supremes. That's what I'm talking about.
I always thought you went for the dirty rice.
You know what? I like to throw dirty rice at weddings. I don't necessarily care for it.
Everybody else, bird seed. Some people, bubbles, dirt, just clumps of dirt. Is that a bean that hit me? What the?
The bride is walking happy as hell, like Tretch walking out of that restaurant. Ah!
Later on, in the wedding night, we don't have to discuss. Everybody knows what goes on at wedding night. They're having their intimate moments, and the groom is like, "Is that more dirty rice?" And she's like, "He hit the fleshy part of the thigh."
That's awesome. Sitting down, and she's sitting on top, dirty rice, little pieces of sausage are falling out of her hair. Nakatomi Saga.
All right, and finally, while Michael Scott got it wrong. Now, Michael Scott is a character played by Steve Carell on The Office, and at one point in the show, he gets a night job at a call center, and he's got everyone around him talking about he doesn't like the later Die Hard movies because it's supposed to be about this everyday guy who's in over his head, and then they've got him taking on all these things, and just it ruined it all for him. But this is where he gets it. This is where he gets it wrong. Just take it for a moment that yes, these are all absurd things that he is involved in. All right, but if you take that at face value, if something crazy keeps happening to you, pretty soon you're going to get pretty good at avoiding or fighting back with whatever it is.
Like he's not accounting for that.
Right. Like, let's say tomorrow, TJ, you wake up with the ability to fly. Now, if you only have that for one day, you're like running into trees, you're doing all of this. But if you have that for the rest of your life, after about a month or two, you're not even putting your hands out anymore. They're behind you, and you're like this. You're like on the slalom and in the skier. You're just graceful. I'm going places. I'm going places.
So in this fictitious world that I create, I feel like all humans have this screen that they sense. So when God is looking at us, or whomever you follow, it's like it's Twitter. It's like they're looking at you and they have a screen, and you have health points and stamina and experience points. So I feel like Bruce Willis or John McClane has gained hella experience points from Die Hard 1 through the last one. So yeah, while I'm first running around barefoot and bleeding all over the place, I hope he got his tetanus shot, by the way. By Live Free or Die Hard, yeah, I can throw a car at a helicopter because I've got some time. I mean, look, I was running around by myself, then I was running around in an airport, then I was running around with Samuel L. Jackson, who all of it he just kept wanting to call me a motherfucker. I'm just saying, yeah, he got some experience points.
Old Jesus. We'll get there. It's coming.
It's coming. That opens. You're talking about scenes.
Yes.
Talking about scenes, bro. We call this a tease because when we Die Hard with a bit, that's a scene, brother. That is a scene. That's a way to open the film. Real stuff.
We're yes, and his introduction to McClane.
That's a scene.
That is a scene, and we'll talk about it when they get there. The thing that made me want to go see that movie, I'll talk about it when we get to that movie. I remember exactly where I was and what I was doing at the time, and I'm like, oh, I got to see this. And it has to do with that scene. I'm like, what in the world is John McClane doing with? It's a tease. It's a tease.
Tease, baby. It's a tease.
So, overall thoughts on Die Hard, TJ?
Die Hard is an all-time classic for me, man. It's one of those movies that I can watch if it's on. I had an amazing friend that I would create a shiv out of a toothbrush and shiv somebody if this friend needed me to. This friend gave me the box set of the Die Hard films, so I get to watch those whenever I want. Every once in a while on a Saturday, I just get in a Die Hard mood. Now that we're doing it, gives me an excuse to watch it. It's not just action, and that's the one thing that I'll say in this one in comparison to some of the Arnold movies or the Sly movies earlier. It was like it was so focused on the action, and they didn't really have a whole bunch of comedic moments or comic relief in it. So after Die Hard, you started to see, because I want to check the numbers. I want to see when this came out versus Beverly Hills Cop. Because I'm like, I feel like one had to influence the other because you're getting a lot more comedy now in your action movies after Die Hard because it's acceptable now, not just to kill people, we're going to be funny too.
Beverly Hills Cop was 84. Beverly Hills Cop was 87. Die Hard was 88. There is
okay, so that's what I said. One had to influence the other. Yeah.
There is one thing that I have looked, and I need to double check here because I always wanted to bring it up, and this is my opportunity. So we're going in the Wayback Machine, and we are landing in the year 1988. My only qualm with this movie is if you bring up December of 88, they talk about that and the markets and all overseas. Christmas Eve was on a Saturday in 1988. And I don't know if everybody's working at the office on a Saturday. My headcanon was, even though everybody says 88, was that it was actually 87.
Either way, bro, when you work at Nakatomi, come to work.
Come in on Saturday. They come in on a Saturday.
Why do you think they had such an amazing year? Those cats were working.
I get it. This is my thing, though. If you talk a year earlier, because everybody forgets, 88 was a leap year. So you had an extra day. So the year before, Christmas Eve is on a Thursday, and you got that Christmas party, and everybody goes home. You got that 3-day weekend, and I bet they took the next week off. I bet my man is like, "Go ahead, just."
Yeah, we had a good year.
We had a good year. That's all I'm saying. But
I'm just, again, because John and Harold were sitting there trying to get Ellis's job, we get more dialogue between John and Harold talking about the fact that they had to come in on a Saturday. Harold's pissed because his youngest boy had his soccer championship, because it's nice in California in December. So they're still playing soccer in December.
On Christmas Eve? I'm going to tell you what, I'm not coming. That's what I'm saying. I got to work. That's what they were always saying. I got to work.
I got to work, because this is what you get on Nakatomi Saga.
And Marvin's not cleaning that up.
No, he's not touching that. And I need to get more Argyle. Argyle's going to have a spinoff from Nakatomi Saga. And I don't know, it's going to have like a Hanging with Mr. Cooper vibe. Riding with Argyle.
And it's called I Gotta See What They're Doing for New Year's.
And it's Argyle going in different places to see what they're doing for New Year's. Well, I heard there's one state where they drop an acorn. I don't know why they do that. I need to look that up.
I'm sure there's a reason.
Oh, there definitely is.
All right, but before I let you go, my friend, go ahead and plug any and everything that you've got.
Man, this is tough. Summer camp's available for rent and to own on all your platforms, apparently, because it's not only on Amazon Prime, it's also on Google, which lets you know your legit skis. Art Crawl's coming. Can't wait for that premiere. More Die Hard. We're going to Die Hard some more. And trust these Nakatomi Sagas. They're coming. Get ready for the comedic tag teaming of when Joey Harris and T.J. Johnson, man. Nakatomi Saga. You have to say it like that.
Nakatomi Sagas.
Yeah, it feels good, don't it?
It does. And also your role in 2025.
What's that? Which role?
Where they called you back for more episodes. I'm trying to build you up, my friend.
Oh, you are building me up, man, my guy. Yes, we're gonna get more from Howard, in the TV show Daddy's Little Girl. That's coming too. I'll be filming that within the next couple of weeks. I'm ready for my. It's funny, Joey, because we talked about it. I found out my character was supposed to die. Like, I did the first 3 episodes, and I found out my guy was supposed to die like episode 4 off screen. Like, I wasn't even supposed to get an on screen death. Like my character was just supposed to be a snitch, and that was it. And to realize that now Howard's getting more life now, I'm definitely looking forward to see what's coming. So that's why I look the way that I do. Actually, I'm getting rough and scruffy for Howard.
That's awesome. Coming in 2025 to Prime?
Prime and Tubi.
Maybe they'll have a offshoot. It'll be called Pruby.
I think, bro. No telling, man. There's so many streaming platforms and ways to watch content, and I'm cool with it because it's just more opportunity for me to shine. Nice. My work is going to soon be offered in some of those situations. You see Art Crawl, where you can hear the introduction of one Joey Harris as who? Himself. You may recognize me as such things as Art Crawl. I play myself.
But I tell you what, that audition process to play myself was tough.
It was grueling. It was grueling. I'm like, all right, Joey, I need you to give me Joey, but I need you to want a sandwich. But don't tell me you want a sandwich. Show it to me with your eyes. Oh, and I look at him like, oh, you're a hungry son of a bitch.
Not on screen. It was all with the voice. I showed him with I showed him with my eyes with my voice.
Yes. Awesome. Appreciate you, brother.
We also recasting Game of Thrones, but more about that later.
Yes, but bro,
I'm Hodor.
That is a Joey Harris show episode that I cannot wait for, and I just said that to get me back on. I'm sorry. You mentioned Nan, and I just got jealous. I'm sorry.
You were just on the last episode that dropped.
That means nothing to me.
TJ's like, what have you done for me lately?
Right. Always good times, though. It's always fun.
So, folks, this is what we need you to do.
Yes.
Go to your YouTubes that you are watching this on.
Mm-hmm.
Hit subscribe. Click the notification bell that is right over there. You know how to work the camera. I don't. It's right over there. Right there.
Okay, that looks bad. But you know where I'm pointing. I'm pointing down, not
in that general area down there. And you will be notified every single time that we drop an episode.
I never know what to do with my hands.
I said that to a stripper one time. Honest to God. She said, tell me what's on your mind, baby. I said, I don't know what to do with my hand. Because you don't want to touch them inappropriately. I am consenting, but I don't know what to do with my hands. And
that's a real quick way to get thrown out.
Yes. I mean, I ended up getting thrown out, but it wasn't my fault.
I'm sorry for laughing so aggressively, but that was an amazing follow. Like the timing on that was perfect.
I mean, it happened. But yeah, so new episodes of the Joey Harris Show every week, new episodes of the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show every week, new episodes of this pretty much every week.
We're getting nasty with it right now.
At least through July. So and I'm gonna be honest with you all, I have recorded so much stuff in this past week. I'm just thankful that I just have to edit tomorrow. That's what I'm looking forward to. No recording, just editing.
And here I was going to ask you if you wanted to record in the morning.
Well, I can't tomorrow. I'm working, but I will definitely maybe some other time this weekend if you've got the time. So
don't tease me with a good time.
Which is the second thing that I said to that stripper.
One, I don't know what to do with my hands. Two, don't you tease me with a good time.
Because look, hey, I'll tell you, it was my bachelor party. We had gone to a strip club to watch midget wrestling. Their words, not mine. And the people that I went with paid to have me have a private lap dance. They paid for 2. I got 2.5.
Oh, that's what's up. What was the song?
I can't remember now. I was worried about what to do with my hands. She was very nice. She just wanted to find love herself. I said, I hope you find it.
That is awesome. I always so I say always as if I was a frequent strip clubber, and I'm not. But with the few times that I got lap dances, I would put my hands palms down on the seats beside me so that I could not be confused with doing anything with my hands. Now, if you now take my hands and put them somewhere, I'm not in control of my hands.
Which is what she did. Everywhere that my hands went, she put them there because I told her that.
Well, I mean, and you're the bachelor party, man. I mean, you're the bachelor,
right?
You know, if anybody should be, hand. That's I'm going to stop talking.
But TJ, as always, thank you, my brother. I appreciate you, and we will see you all next time when we do Die Hard 2, Die Harder.
Dying the hardest.